Good morning, one and all. In last lecture, we have started the unit number 7, and that is the ductile detailing of RCC members. Okay, we have learned some part from this ductile detailing of RCC members. What is the ductility, concept of ductility, that parameters we have learned. After that, we have learned what are the different types of the whatever the different factors which will be considered for this ductile detailing of RCC members in the building. Again, IS code which is used for this ductile detailing of RCC members, that parameters we have learned in the last lecture. We'll discuss these points within 5 minutes, and after that we'll move towards the how to measure the ductility, and the last point, that is the factors affecting on the ductility. These two parameters only remain from this unit number 7. It is very short chapter. It is very short chapter. Within 2 hours it will be finished. Okay, and already we have discussed some of the concept about the ductility in the last lecture. Okay, and after completing this chapter, we'll move towards the last unit, that is the unit number 8. Okay, so what is the ductility and which IS code is used in the ductile used for this ductile detailing of RCC members? So the IS 13920/1993. You should remember this IS code because there will be some MCQs. Question will be asked to you for your examination. The IS code used for the ductile detailing of RCC members. If such a MCQ will be over there, and some of the options like this, that is the IS 13920/1993, IS 1893, IS 456. Likewise, there will be an option, but you should know, if you have studied these points, then automatically you will know the answer about this. What is the IS code, which will be helpful to understand the ductile detailing of RCC members. So the answer is here, that is the 13920, that is 1993. That IS code is helpful to us for the ductile detailing of RCC members. Okay. The main basic approach of this ductile detailing of RCC members is that by using this IS codes, we'll understand what is the ductile detailing, why to go for this ductile detailing, that parameters we will understand. Okay, and if we apply such factors which are related to this ductile detailing of RCC members in the building, then automatically we can achieve a building as a earthquake resistant building. We can reduce the damages of the structures. Okay, when these dynamic loads, when the external loads which are coming on the structures, and for that purpose we have to go through this IS code, whatever the assumptions, whatever the factors they have given into that IS code, that is IS 13920/1993. Okay, and how they have made the ductile detailing between the different RCC members, like a slab, beam, columns. Okay, and how they have produced the building as a earthquake resistant building as far as the dynamic loads which is coming on the structures. Okay, and from this ductile detailing of RCC members, if we made the ductile detailing very nicely for in our structures, then our building will be become a very strong building, and which will be reduces the damages which will be formed because of the dynamic responses. Okay, so that is the basic concepts about this the ductile detailing of RCC members. Okay, the basic approach of this earthquake resistant design should be based on the lateral strength as well as the deformability and the ductility capacity of the structure with limited damage to the structures. The IS code, that is IS 13920/1993, entitled is, the title of that IS code is ductile detailing of RCC members. Ductile detailing of RCC, that is the reinforced concrete structures. Okay, subjected to the seismic forces code. The IS code, that is the ductile detailing of RCC structure subjected to the seismic forces, and based on this approach only Okay. So based on this, IS code will achieve the toughness, ductility to register earthquake loads which are coming on the structures, earthquake shock which are coming on the structure. For that purposes, we will make our building as a strong building which will reduces the damages of the structures. Okay. Next one is this ductility of the structure is one of the important factor affecting the seismic performance, and it has been clearly observed and well designed and detailed reinforced structures behave well during earthquake, and gap between the actual and the designed lateral forces is narrowed down by providing the ductility in the structures. Okay, so now I will tell you the what is the ductility. So ductility is nothing but we have to make the ductile detailing, whatever the gap now whatever the connection between the beams and column, whatever the steel reinforcement is over there, that reinforcement we have to made strong with their connections. That connection we have to make very nicely. At that time, what is the happening, the whatever the external loads which are coming on the structure, at that time the structures behaves good, and that's why it will register whatever the forces which are coming on the structure. And so we have to take care for this the ductile detailing of RCC members while going for the while earthquake loads which are coming, and that condition we have to apply at the construction at the time of the construction only of the RCC members. Okay, so that is the very important point over here to understand about the ductile detailing of RCC members. Now there is the concept about the ductility, so we can here we can go for this parameter ductile detailing of RCC members. What is this behavior of the structure? Any type of any material. There are the two types of the behavior of the material. One is the ductile and second one is the brittle behavior. Okay. So during the dynamic loads, during the earthquake loads which are coming on the structure, at that time our material should be a ductile material. If we use the ductile material, then automatically whatever the loads, whatever the dynamic loads which are coming on the structure, at that time our materials behaves like a ductile, and that's why whatever the ductile behavior, it will be resist the dynamic loads for a longer time. But if we go towards the brittle material, then automatically brittle material will be there. If dynamic loads are coming, automatically it will be getting collapsed, it will be make a damages. So for that purposes we have to go for the ductile detail, we have to go for the material like a ductile behavior. We cannot use the brittle material because the brittle materials not behaves good during the dynamic loads, during the earthquake loads for the structures. So for that purposes, we have to move for the ductile behavior material, which will be introduced into the building, and that will be useful for us, that will be helpful for us to resist the dynamic loads which are coming on the structures. Okay, they can withstand the forces which are coming on the structures, and they will reduce the damages also. So for that purposes, we have to move for the ductile detailing of RCC members with a ductile behavior materials. Okay, then brittle material, what they did, brittle material, if loads are coming on the structure, automatically they will be getting collapse. So we have to take care for the brittle, we have to take care for the material which will be ductile in nature. We cannot go for the brittle behavior of the material. And such types of the material we cannot use for the structures. Now we can move towards the next point. In order to achieve the ductile structure, we must give stress on three key areas during the design process. So during the design process, there are the three parameters, and these are very important parameters. So first we give the attention for the overall design concept of the building configuration. So building configuration related parameters already we have learned in the unit number 5. So how building should be, plan should be for taller, height of the building, length of the building, width of the building. Okay, that all parameters we have learned in the unit number 5 only. So by considering this all the parameters, the configuration of the building should be sound. That is the first point. Second one is the individual member should be designed with the ductility, and third one is the with whatever the connections between the structural elements, structural components, that will be a for that structural connection should be strong, and careful attention we have to give over there. Okay, means there are the three parameters for achieving the ductility is very important. First one is the configuration of the building should be strong. Second one is the for achieving the ductility we should give the attention over there, type of the material and how to increase the bond between the components with the structural steel. And we have to third one is the we have to give attention over the mm, finally, connections which are between the slab, again with the slab beam, column, and footing, whatever the load path over there, and between this, whatever the steel reinforcement, and in that steel reinforcements, we have to give the attention. So these are the three parameters which are very helpful to us to understand the ductile that we understand to achieve the building as a earthquake resistant building. And if we give the attention over these three parameters, automatically we can make the building as a earthquake resistant building. Okay, so in earthquake resistant design of structures, all structural members and their connections and support, that is all critical regions where the stress level goes to yielding strength or exceeds during severe earthquakes should be designed with large ductility, stable hysteresis behavior, and this will be helpful. This will help in disturbing internal forces and dissipating the emerging during the earthquakes. Okay, so we have to understand these three parameters. If we apply these three parameters for the structures, then automatically we can make the building as a earthquake resistant building. After this, we have finished these parameters in the last lecture. Now we'll move towards the next point, that is the ductile detailing of RCC. We'll move towards the different ways of measuring the ductility. So how to measure the ductility, that parameter will be learned here. Okay, so I request all of you, please write down this new point. There are different ways of measuring the ductility. Different ways of measuring ductility. Different ways of measuring ductility. Write down. Ductility is the capacity of material. Ductility is the capacity of material. Ductility is the capacity of material, comma, structural component. Structural component. Structural component or entire structures, entire structures to undergo, to undergo, to undergo deformation, to undergo deformation, to undergo deformation after its initial yield, after its initial yield, without any significant reduction in yield strength, without any significant reduction in yield strength, without any significant reduction in yield strength. Full stop. Ductility is generally measured in terms of ductility is generally measured in terms of ductility ratio. Ductility is measured in terms of ductility ratio. Ductility is generally measured in terms of ductility ratio or ductility factor, which is the ratio of which is the ratio of which is the ratio of the maximum deformation that a structure or element can undergo without significant loss of without significant loss of initial yielding resistance initial yielding resistance to the initial yielding deformation okay. So ductility is measured in the three different ways that we see. Okay, so ductility, what is the ductility is generally which is measured in terms of the ductility ratio or the ductility factor, and that is the ratio of maximum deformation of that structure or element which can undergo without significant loss of initial yielding resistance to the initial yielding deformation. Initial yielding resistance towards the initial yielding deformation. So we'll see what are these factors and what are the different parameters which will be considered here for this ductile detailing of RCC members and its measurement. So first parameter is here, that is the member or the element ductility. Second one is the rotational and curvature ductility, and third one is the structural ductility. So these are the three parameters over here. First one is here, that is the member ductility. Second one is the rotational and curvature ductility, and third one is over here, that is related to the structural ductility. So we'll see these three parameters. First you write down this member oblique element ductility. This is very important point over here for this unit number 7. Okay, your examination is online. If for this offline examination, that parameter will be over there for each and every examination, because the ductility concept is very important as far as the IS 13920. So write down questions will be over there. What is the ductility and how to measure the ductility in the different ways. Okay, so I request all of you, please write down the first one, member oblique element ductility. From that first A part you write displacement ductility. It is estimated based on the ratio of yield displacement and ultimate displacement. Okay, so displacement ductility, what is this displacement ductility? So it is a ratio of yield displacement to the ultimate displacement. Yield load is defined as, write down, yield load is defined as load when reinforcement at the center of resultant when reinforcement at the center of resultant of tensile forces in the reinforcement yield. in the reinforcement field. Full stop. Once the yield load is estimated, once the yield load is estimated, once the yield load is estimated, once the yield load is estimated from iterative calculations, from iterative calculations, the yield displacement is computed as the yield displacement is computed as yield displacement is computed as the displacement the displacement when the load reaches when the load reaches the yield load when the load reaches to the yield load, the ultimate displacement the ultimate displacement is the maximum displacement is the maximum displacement where the load does not becomes lower than yield load. Load does not become lower than yield load. I request all of you, please draw this diagram. I hope you have completed the displacement ductility with its figure. Okay, what is the displacement ductility? It is a ratio, means it is a limitless quantity, and it is a ratio of yielded displacement to the ultimate displacement. So you can see from this figure, you can see B figure over here. So for this yield displacement and ultimate displacement both are given, and for this yield load, okay, load versus displacement graph is over here, and from this load versus displacement, the two displacement are produced. One is the yield displacement and second one is the ultimate displacement. And for calculating the displacement ductility, we have to take the ratio of this yield displacement to the ultimate displacement. So that is the ratio over here for the calculation of this displacement ductility. And you can see for this figure number 1, that is the figure A, where the cross section area is shown, that is the circular cross section area, and which strain distribution is shown, and with the resultant that force, which is the tensile force distribution, which is shown here for this ductile detailing of RCC members. And mostly this ultimate displacement, that ultimate displacement is a maximum displacement, where the loads does not become lower than the yield load. Okay, so you can understand here what is the difference between this ultimate and the yield displacement. The ultimate displacement which will not be less than the yield displacement. Okay, and that does not become lower than this yield load. Okay, yield load also. Okay, and that is the displacement ductility. It is the ratio of this yield displacement towards the ultimate displacement. So that is the factor over here, and which will not be less than the yield displacement, which will not be less than the yield load. Okay, now we'll move towards the rotational and the curvature ductility. What is this parameter we see here? So ductility is evaluated. Write down this second parameter, that is the B, rotational and curvature ductility. Rotational and curvature ductility. Write down. This ductility is evaluated by taking the curvature ductility ratio, or rotation angle ductility ratio of rotation angle ductility ratio of each element is needed. The rotational ductility factor is often expressed on the basis of the plastic hinges idealization below this. Write down these formulas. Mu r is equal to 1 plus phi h upon phi y, theta h upon theta y, or you can say phi. Mu r is equal to 1 plus theta h upon theta y. So we'll understand what is this theta h and theta y. Where theta is the maximum plastic hinges rotation, plastic hinges rotation, and theta y is yield rotation, yield rotation in case of a beam, in case of a beam loaded by two antisymmetric end elements. Curvature ductility is the ratio of curvature at the ultimate strength of the section to the curvature at first yield of tension steel in the section. Now you draw this figure. I will wait for 2 minutes. Okay, last point from this unit number 7, that is the factors affecting on the ductility. So we'll see these factors, some of the factors which will be affecting on the ductility. So first parameter is here, ductility increases linearly with an increase in shear strength carried by concrete for small value of axial compressive stress. First we'll read these all the factors which will be affecting on the ductility. Second one is the ductility linearly reduces up to the point where axial compressive stress becomes equal to the axial compressive stress at the balanced failure. Third one is the with increase of ultimate strain of concrete, the ductility factors increases, thus confining of concrete increases with the ductility. Fourth one is here the lateral about the lateral reinforcement. Fifth one is about the shear failure in the different components of the RCC components of the building. And last one is about the bond failure and the anchorage failure, which will be occur sudden and the brittle failure into the RCC members. So we should take care about these all the factors which will be affecting while the ductility in the structure. So first parameter is here. We'll see the ductility which is related to the shear strength. So ductility is increases with respect to this increase in the shear strength. Okay, in the concrete shear strength concrete मधली increase होत असेल तर that at that time the ductility is also goes on increases with the linearly. That is the first parameter. Second one is the ductility is linearly reduces. Where it is reduces a point up to the axial compressive stress is becomes equal to the axial compressive stress at the balanced failure. So for these 2 points which are related to this ductility increases with respect to the shear strength, and second one is the which will be reduces up to the point where the axial compressive stress is becomes equal to the axial compressive stress at the balanced failure. Third one is with increase of ultimate strain of concrete, ductility factors increases and thus confining of concrete increases the ductility. Okay, so ultimate strength of concrete, if it is increases, the automatically ductility factors also increases, and also confining of concrete is increases with respect to the ductility. Okay. Next one is the lateral reinforcement. If the lateral reinforcement is where the connections are good, okay, between the steel reinforcement, then automatically it will be improves the ductility. Whatever the dynamic loads are coming at that time, also our structure will be remain as a safe structure because there is a ductility. Whatever the connections between the RCC members are good, so at that time our structure will become as a safe structure while the dynamic loads are there. Next one is the shear failure. Shear failure occurs at a similar deflection and the flexural failure. Already we know if the components, RCC components are weak, which are designed with a bad material, which are brittle in nature, then automatically what will be happen? Such a dynamic loads are coming at that time. Our structure will be become unsafe structure. There will be some little damages will be occur for the building, and so for that purpose we have to make sure that there should be a deflection should be less. Again, whatever the flexural failure which will be occur into the building, that should be avoided. And if such a failures are over there, automatically it will be reduces the ductile detailing nature, that is the ductility of the structure. So we should carefully attention we have to give over there to increase the, so we have to reduce this shear failure. We have to reduce the whatever the deformations which will be occur into the structures. And the last point is we have to made the connections between the stirrups. We have to made the connections between the beams where the steel reinforcement, main reinforcement, distribution steel over there, main steel over there, whatever the stirrups are there, anchorage bonds are there. Between these parameters, we have to make the bond which will be good bond. Then and then we can achieve the ductility for the structures. And the last point is here, that is the bond failures and the anchorage failures are the sudden and the brittle. So we have to avoid such a failures like the bond failures and anchorage failures, and for that purpose, what parameters and for preventing such a failures we have to take care while constructing, while designing the buildings. Okay, these are the 7 factors over here which will be affecting on the ductile detailing of RCC members. So I request all of you write down these factors in your notebook. Ductility increases linearly. Ductility increases linearly with an increase in shear strength. With an increase in shear strength carried by concrete for small value of axial compressive stress. Second, ductility linearly reduces up to the point where axial compressive stress becomes equal to the axial compressive stress. Third parameter is here. With increase in ultimate strain of concrete, ductility factor increases. Next one, lateral reinforcement. Tend to improve the ductility by preventing the shear failure. And buckling. Shear failure and buckling. The lateral reinforcement in the form of closed stirrups is effective in binding the compression zone thereby confining the concrete and increasing the ductility of sections. Next one, shear failure occurs at a similar deflection than the flexural failure and hence absorbs hence absorbs much less energy, absorbs much less energy. Full stop. Members should be designed. Members should be designed and detailed by providing web reinforcement, providing web reinforcement so that strength in shear exceeds in the exceeds in the exceeds in the strength in flexure, strength in shear exceeds in the strength in flexure. Full stop. Therefore, therefore, ductility increases as the stirrups in the specimen increases. Stirrups in the specimen increases. And the last point, bond failure and anchorage failures. Bond failures and anchorage failures are sudden and brittle. So special attention must be given. Special attention must be given in detail to prevent them from occurring in the structure which must behave in ductile manner which must behave in ductile manner Okay, so these are the factors which are related to the ductility, where the ductility is depends on this all the parameters. So we should take care. We have to give attention over here to increase the ductility with these parameters. Okay, now we'll move towards the next point, that is the one point is remaining from this measurement of the ductility, and we have seen this first point, that is the displacement ductility we have covered. Second one is the rotational and curvature ductility. So write down this curvature ductility. Curvature ductility is the ratio of curvature at the ultimate strength of the section to the curvature at first yield of the tension steel in the section. And the relation is written here. I request all of you write down this relation with this phi max, phi y, phi p and phi y. Hello. I hope you have clear this about the curvature ductility, and that is the relation over here. It is the ratio of curvature at ultimate strength of the section to the curvature at first yield of the tension steel section. Okay, so it is a bilinear movement curvature relation. Draw this diagram. I will wait for 2 minutes. Draw this diagram. तुम्ही पण ट्राय केले इथे का इथल्या का तुझे दोन पीसी काढ प्रॅक्टिस त्याच्यावरती वॉटर कॅड आहे आणि पॉन्स आणि अजून त्याच्यावरती आपलं चांगलं बनायचं पटल्यास मला पूर्वा गेली मी तुम्हाला सुरुवात करून देऊ त्यात अजून ते स्पीड करायला काय उडवायचं काय write down the next point, that is the structural stability. Structural stability. Structural ductility is the global sense. Structural ductility is the global sense. Depends on the displacement ductility of its members, because the response displacement of each member, which can be evaluated with the static analysis. Okay, means this structural ductility we have to especially we have to give attention over here, because its response displacement of each member, which can be evaluated at the with the static analysis, and it is a quantification which requires the relation between the lateral loads and the displacement of the whole building. Means it is a quantification over here, which is the relationship between the lateral loads and the displacement of the whole building. And this may be obtained by the push-over analysis. Which analysis? By using the push-over analysis, by plotting the total base shear versus the top story displacement or the pre-primary versus the displacement at the layer where the force QB is equal to Fi, which is applied, and UB is the that is the displacement. UB is determined from the work lateral forces, that is Fi as follows. So in this way, there is a lateral force and lateral displacement, which parameters are very important, and the code defined for this lateral distribution can be used for this analysis. So ductility of building may be used for the analysis of ductility of the building, may be quantified with the following parameter, that is the U max to the UY. Is the whatever the deflection, which is maximum deflection towards the that is the yield displacement, maximum yield displacement towards the minimum yield displacement, and which will be calculated for each and every story with the beam ductility, that is depends upon each and every member of the ductility, that is the beam ductility, and the system ductility mu b is. So mu b is the system, that is the total ductility. You can write down this question also, how to calculate the member ductility for each and every component. So KB upon KC, it is a ratio of member stiffness for the beams and the columns. For the beams and the columns. Okay, so in this way, we have covered this unit number 7. So only one unit is remaining, that is unit number 8, that we'll see in the next lecture. So now we'll move towards the, we'll check the IS code. What are the basic fundamentals which are given into this IS code for achieving the ductile detailing of RCC members. Okay, so now I will stop the sharing and we'll move towards the IS code, that is IS 13920/1993, which is related to the ductile detailing of RCC members.